from the Hussman School of Journalism and Media at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, covering the full range of Tar Heel athletics. This is Sports Extra.
Kate, I love Carolina with my entire heart, but even on a bye week, the football team is still torturing us.
I couldn't agree more. Even just scrolling through my phone, I can't escape the overwhelming news that continues to pour in.
Yeah. Good morning and welcome to Sports Extra. I'm Madeline Heichu.
And I'm Kate McCullough. Today is the day, Madeline, we're finally going to hear from Bill Belichick himself at the press conference that's starting right now.
There's been a lot of buzz around the football team, and Bill is going to be addressing those allegations surrounding UNC football.
I hope this press conference can bring a little bit of clarity around the question marks that this season has really brought.
Yeah, for sure. Let's hear from our football analyst, Alden Archdeacon, though. Alden.
Thanks, Maddie. Look, UNC is all over the news. All of it is bad. We talked about it on Friday. Players fighting, coach suspended. Not good, but I think the Guardian said it best. Bill Belichick arrived at North Carolina promising to bend college football to his will. College football laughed. College football is laughing at us. There's no doubt about it. And Bill Belichick is addressing it live in this press conference. And luckily, we have Grace Nugent there to cover it. Grace, what are you hearing?
The college football world is now listening. I'm live here at Kenan Football Center, where in just a few moments, head coach Bill Belichick is going to take the podium to address the rumors swirling around his program. It was a bye week for the Tar Heels, but it has been anything but sleepy here in Chapel Hill. There have been reports about locker room infighting, a general toxic environment, players selling their own tickets, and above all, Bill Belichick's $30 million buyout. All of this prompted both Belichick and the university to release statements on Wednesday reaffirming their commitment to Bill Belichick as head coach. However, on Thursday, the university confirms to The Athletic that assistant cornerbacks coach Armand Hawkins has been suspended, and there is an investigation into, quote, his detrimental actions. Now, Bill is expected to address all of these rumors, but if we know anything about Bill, we won't exactly know what he's going to say until he steps up to the podium. What we do know is he will definitely be talking about football. UNC travels to play Cal this week, and they have a negative 87-point differential against Power 3 teams. This is going to be a big game, not just for what is happening on the field, but for all of the national and local media eyes that are hounding Kenan Football Stadium and Center and this program. Alden, back to you.
Thanks, Grace. Look, UNC is struggling, but we got to remember there's a lot more college football out there outside of Chapel Hill. So I'm breaking down the current college football landscape. We're about halfway through. Let's break down the championship teams. Ohio State, Miami, Alabama. I think any of these three could easily win the Natty. The one I like the most is Alabama. They lost the opener to Florida State. Wasn't a great look, but then Kalen DeBoer got his team in line. They look way better. They have the best quarterback in the country, in my opinion, in Ty Simpson. Next up, letdowns. I mean, Penn State, UNC, Texas. I think these three are safe to say they're letdowns. The one I think is the biggest one is Penn State. James Franklin, I mean, he was recently fired. His buyout was like $50 million, so it shows just how desperate the Nittany Lions are to get back on track and start winning again. And then last but not least, I think I'm talking about our sleepers. You got Georgia Tech, Notre Dame, Vanderbilt. I think any of these teams could slip into the college football playoff. The team I like the most, the Fighting Irish, they were kind of written off after their first two losses in the year, but they have a cupcake schedule coming in. Their only hard game is this weekend against USC. I think they win that, and I think they're a team to look out for. Marcus Freeman has done a really good job with that. But really, the moral of the story is all these teams, there's a lot more parity in college football with the new NIL, the transfer portal. And look, we're only halfway through, a lot more football to watch, so buckle in. It'll be a fun ride. Maddie?
Thanks, Alden. It's been tough covering the football team this season, but let's see what success on the sidelines looks like.
WRAL reporter Pat Walter has been covering the news about Bill Belichick from the beginning.
Emma Kane and I sat down with Walter to learn about his experience covering the many breaking stories.
For me, this specific process with this story really started, with the Belichick hire. I had some sources during the hiring process and the firing process of Mac Brown.
Walter has been covering UNC football for 5 years and has been heading a lot of the reporting when it comes to the controversy surrounding Belichick and the team.
What we're learning right now, which is we're kind of uncovering in real time what's going on inside that locker room, inside the Bill Belichick program, to kind of explain why the results on the field have been so historically bad.
Welter has been one of the first to report on this.
Is it better to be right or is it better to be first? Obviously, it's better to be right. But if you are first, a lot comes with that.
But it's hard to know when something's right when he's been receiving conflicting information.
If they are talking to you, they have some sort of agenda. So even if they say it's true, and then you have multiple people say it's true, it still doesn't necessarily mean it's true.
One example he says is regarding exit strategy meetings.
I've been told at multiple levels of decision making that those conversations did not occur. Again, that goes back to my point earlier. Even though they're saying that, that doesn't necessarily mean they didn't, right? Like there was another report out there from a credible source that said they did.
And what makes it even harder in the reporting is that a lot of his sources need to remain anonymous.
Well, people can't put their name to it. So, like, if you want to know what's really going on, you have to be able to work off the record, anonymous sources.
But who Welters still needs to hear from is Belichick himself.
You know, I think he owes us answers, and if he's not giving them to us on the podium, I think it's our job as journalists to try to find out behind the scenes what the real answer is.
I'm Emma Kane.
And I'm Madeline Haichu reporting.
Welter and many others want answers, and Welter plans to ask for those at today's press conference.
Yes, indeed. Welter has seen a lot of our finest players, but he is now covering a lot of Tar Heels, and now let's look at the professional stage. No one is making more of a name for themselves than one former Tar Heel quarterback. New England Patriots quarterback Drake May delivered a standout performance against the New Orleans Saints on Sunday. He completed 70% of his passes for 260 yards. May led the Patriots to their fourth win of the season. He ended the first quarter with a 53-yard touchdown to Demario Douglas, then found Kayshon Boutte in the end zone for another score. Later, May connected with Boutte again for a 29-yard touchdown and added a 2-point conversion. The Patriots held off the Saints for a 25-19 victory.
It's always great to see UNC athletes continue to climb up the ladder. Madeline, who has been your favorite player to watch go pro?
I mean, I absolutely love Carolina soccer, so I've got to say Ali Sendnor, a women's soccer player here at UNC who just went to the National Soccer League for the Kansas City Currents.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. I definitely think women's soccer has a few more that are going to be headed that way shortly, but let's see how they did this weekend.
On Sunday, the women's soccer team faced the Blue Devils away in a rainy rivalry matchup.
In the first 45 minutes, Carolina held Duke back for a scoreless half. The Heels defense was on fire with saves like this one by Bella Gattino to keep the Blue Devils off. In the second, Duke turned up the heat, scoring 2 goals within 4 minutes of each other. In the 75th minute, Duke scored again, but Carolina didn't give up. Eris Freifeld scored a crosser at the far post with 45 seconds left. Duke then scored an own goal, giving Carolina their second goal with 11 seconds remaining. Carolina lost at Duke, 3-2.
It was a rough afternoon for the Heels at Freeman Field, so let's toss it over to our analyst, Molly Malik, who is live at Dorrance Field to recap the season so far. Molly.
I'm live from Dorrance Field, where the Tar Heels have only lost 1 game this season. Their season record is currently sitting at 9-5, as opposed to last year at this time when they were at 12-2. Now, if we take a deeper look at their record, we are seeing that they're losing to the best teams, all of whom are currently ranked in this moment. One of those teams includes the 14th ranked Duke, who they took on yesterday. And in those goal scoring situations, we were seeing a lot of similarities. Ultimately, the Heels left a lot of room open at the top of the box, which gave time to the Blue Devils to then punish the Heels once, twice, and a third time. But a couple other things were happening at that same time. You know, the Heels didn't have this home field advantage, and with that, they were also missing 2 key players. Last week, just over there, I had the opportunity to hear from Lauren Malsom, who is representing Team USA at the U17 FIFA Women's World Cup with her teammate Riley Kennedy. Now, Kennedy has started in 8 of 10 games this season. Malsom has started in 5 of 10, but put 4 goals and an assist on the season. So I think the Heels really missed her offensive spark yesterday. And ultimately, the score doesn't really show how close of a game that it was yesterday in terms of that tension and that fighting. So ultimately, you know, the Heels won't take on any more ranked opponents this season, and they are not set to return to Dorrance Field until October 26th.
Thanks, Molly. Bogged down by Duke, but back on the field this Friday when they take on SMU in Dallas at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. In men's soccer, the Tar Heels returned home to Dorrance Field to take on St. Thomas Saturday night. Carolina created several chances in the first half, but the game remained tied. The breakthrough came in the 55th minute when Dan Klink scored off assists from Luka Nikolai and Dylan Kropp. Moments later, Klink struck again, assisted by Ryan Dugan, giving the Heels a 2-0 lead. Carolina put the game out of reach in the 61st minute with Klink's third goal, assisted by Dugan and Nikolai. UNC added a fourth goal in the 70th minute as Nacho Abial found the back of the net. The Heels dominate at Dorrance Field with a shutout victory.
Number 23 ranked UNC volleyball traveled down south to face off against the Clemson Tigers in a conference battle on Friday. UNC showed off their dynamic skill set not only through serving aces, but with out-of-system swings like this one from Sophie Hampton, sent out of bounds off of Clemson's pass. The Heels utilized their talented blockers to throw off Clemson by putting up defensive walls from Chelsea Thorpe, who left Clemson's offense lacking in this play. From the first serve to match point, the Heels swept Clemson 3-0, remaining undefeated in the ACC. And on Sunday, UNC traveled to Georgia Tech. Tech came out ready to play and won the first set 25-17. That didn't stop the Tar Heels. They quickly bounced back, winning the second set 25-22. Sophie Hampton led the way for Carolina with 16 kills, while Lainey Smith added 12 and Chelsea Thorpe chipped in 10. This helped the Tar Heels win the third set 25-19. Not only did the offense know how to control the ball on the defensive side, Lauren Shutter was a wall at the net with 9 blocks, allowing UNC to win the fourth set 25-17. The Tar Heels won 3-1 and will travel to Boston College on Friday, hoping to keep their undefeated streak in ACC play alive. What a weekend for Carolina volleyball, and if you watched the games, you know Zoe Barrett was a massive part of the success. To hear more about the big wins, our volleyball analyst Marilee Tu is here to break it down with Zoe. Marilee.
You're right, Kate. The Heels are now 7-0 in the ACC and broke a long-time losing streak against Georgia Tech. Last night, Zoe, you were a major part of this success. Shall we break it down?
Let's do it.
Okay, first let's go into pre-game discussion. Y'all hadn't beat Georgia Tech since 2017. Was this something you considered preparing for the game?
I mean, personally, I knew I've never beaten Georgia Tech, but we didn't take it much into consideration before the game.
Good. Focus on yourself and what y'all can do right. Yeah. Now, the first set was a little bit of a struggle. Y'all lost 25-17, but you got your momentum going in the second set. How did y'all switch up? What changed?
So we knew that their middles were kind of killing us, and so we needed to do what we could to keep them out of system, maybe put the ball on the setter or pick up our service pressure.
And speaking of out-of-system plays, this play right here is a little unconventional. Let's break it down. So Sophie receives the ball. Haley sets it to Lainey Smith. Lainey is not an outside.
No.
What was going on with that?
I mean, it just shows the versatility that we have as hitters in the front row. Lainey can swing on both pins, and that's a great job. They were not ready for that.
Right, and y'all got the momentum back in the second and kept it going for the third and fourth. What was on your mind trying to clinch out that win?
I mean, our defense was so good the entire game, and blocking really did a great job this entire game.
Right, well, congratulations on the big win. You're heading up north this weekend. I'm excited to see how that goes, and maybe I'll see you back here next week for another post-victory discussion. Back to y'all at the desk.
Thanks, Marilee. The weather may be getting colder, but the volleyball Heels are still on a hot streak.
I know. I can't believe they've won 7 wins in a row, and volleyball's really bringing up the heat indoors. But out on the turf, field hockey had their own fire going.
Oh, yeah. That cold and rainy weather cannot stop fans from attending field hockey.
Carolina field hockey hit the road to Charlottesville for a top 5 showdown against Virginia on Friday. Defense ruled the night until Carolina found the breakthrough the Heels needed to knock off second-ranked Virginia. With the game scoreless through 3 quarters, the Tar Heels finally broke through in the fourth. Riley Heck sent a pass across the circle, and Charlie Bruder buried it for the lone goal of the game, putting Carolina up 1-0. The Heels defense held strong down the stretch. The Heels shut out the Cavaliers to secure the 1-0 win. With the victory, UNC improves to 11-1 on the season and 4-1 in ACC play.
On Sunday, the Heels were back home to take on Louisville for another conference matchup. In the first quarter, from Isabel Bloor, found Kara Heck to finish off the goal and put the Heels on the board. Defense was dominant from the back with Grace Potterbaum and Hope Haynes putting the pressure on Louisville, allowing only 2 shot attempts. Bohr gave UNC their second goal of the game after the Heels were awarded a penalty corner, and Sana Hawk sealed the deal in the third with the help of Sietske Bruining. UNC shuts out Louisville 3-0, the Heels' second consecutive clean sheet.
The UNC field hockey team continues its strong run. And at the heart of the action are two standout sisters. Our field hockey analyst Sophia Gray caught up with the dynamic duo to talk about their journey and what it means to share the field in Carolina blue.
For the first time, standout sisters Riley and Kara Heck are taking the field together at UNC as Kara joins the Tar Heels this season after transferring in.
I chose my college first.
I was really unsure of what I wanted to do. I wanted to go to 2 different schools. At first I did think I was going to play with her, but then when I found I had the chance to come to one of the best programs, I quickly changed my mind, which was very hard to do.
Kind of were like, okay, we're set on different paths, and that's what we're going to do. But you know, things worked out, and everything happens for a reason, and here we are, playing together.
The transfer portal brought the Heck sisters back on the same roster, reuniting them in Carolina blue.
The transfer portal is a very dangerous game.
When I was in the portal looking for a new school, I eventually got the chance to talk to Erin, the head coach here. That was the first thing in my head, oh my gosh, wait, I could play with my sister.
She was my role model my whole life.
Right away I called my sister and it was the most exciting moment ever.
The Heck sisters quickly learned that none of this would have been possible without a season-ending injury.
She didn't know what she wanted to do. She didn't even know if she wanted to play field hockey because she was so upset about her injury, and it was such a hardship on her family.
I thought it was the end of the world back then, but in reality it happened for a reason and put me in a position where I get to play with my sister for one last final season.
It's just important that she recognized that there was actually a good thing out of it and she got to come here.
The two sisters look to bring North Carolina back on top to the NCAA championship this year. I'm Sophia Gray reporting.
And joining us now are the Heck sisters. We have Riley and Kara here. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Now I have to ask, how has it been sharing the field with your older sister and you with your younger sister? Tell me about it.
I mean, it's definitely a fun journey. She's been through a long college year, and I got lucky enough to be senior, and she's also basically a senior, and it's been super fun just to have her on the field.
Awesome. Kara?
Yeah, I think it's a super special opportunity to have. You know, we got to play together only for 1 year in high school. And then, like Riley said, we get our last year of college together. So it's super just a special opportunity for us.
I love that. And I have to ask, is there any sort of rivalry that happens on the field?
I definitely think there's a little bit of competitiveness, but that's just because we're siblings and we've had it since we were little. So, I mean, I think it's a good thing to make us better on the field. So.
Awesome. And then after beating number 2 Virginia, what does the rest of the season look like for you guys as a team?
You know, it was a great win, but it's something we need to learn from and continue into the future and continue into our next ACC play this weekend, and just keep growing as a team to be the best we can going into the end of season and into postseason as well.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Kara. Thank you, Riley.
Thank you.
Let's head to Maddie back at the desk.
Thanks, Kate. With sibling chemistry in the top 3 ranking, this season is bound to be a big one. From national titles to international courts, one former Tar Heel is proving that leadership doesn't end when the final buzzer sounds. Here's Adair Martin.
Marcus Ginyard wasn't the Tar Heels' top scorer, but fans knew him as the heart of the team. A versatile defender, communicator, and leader, Ginyard built his identity around doing the little things that helped Carolina win.
So I wanted to be the guy that was diving on the floor for the loose balls and making sure I was communicating better than anybody else and making sure I was playing tough defense. And I was just trying to find all the different ways to help my team.
That mindset paid off. Ginyard's toughness and leadership were key in guiding Carolina basketball through deep tournament runs and ultimately a national championship.
Yeah, I mean, leadership was such a huge part of my time here at Carolina. And it was something that I thought was so important that I really, kind of dove into that world outside of the basketball court, but here at Carolina with the Carolina Leadership Academy.
After graduation, Ginyard took his game overseas. Nearly a decade of professional basketball in Europe tested him physically and mentally. But eventually came the transition every athlete faces, life after sport.
You realize how much support was around you. Wherever you're kind of transitioning from, it's challenging to figure out how to compete in a different realm and to compete in a way that gives you that same kind of feeling when you win. It's more challenging to find a team that has those same goals, that are going to be aligned, who are going to support you through thick and thin.
Now, Ginyard has found that new team back in Chapel Hill. As Director of Special Projects in the Chancellor's Office, he helps guide the university initiatives and connects with the community he's always cherished.
And to be able to come back here and serve the university, that means so much to me. It's just an incredible honor.
From Tar Heel standout to campus leader, Marcus Ginyard proves that the lessons of teamwork, resilience, and leadership extend far beyond the hardwood. I'm Adair Martin reporting.
A Tar Heel on and off the court, Marcus Ginyard continues to leave his mark on Carolina.
There's no on show on Friday, but don't worry, we still have you covered with our 2 best plays of the week. But before we get into that, we just had breaking news from the press conference where ESPN reported that Bill Belichick said any news of him leaving UNC is categorically false. Do with that what you will, but let's go ahead and head into our play of the week. First, we have men's soccer 6'4" freshman Dan Klink, who scored a hat trick of headers on Saturday, his first 3 goals for UNC. His second goal was the pick of the lot as Ryan Dugan nodded the ball back across the goal for Klink to head home. Second, we have Kara Heck's goal against Louisville. Heck drove to knock in the pass by Isabel Boer on a executed penalty corner to put the Tar Heels ahead. That was Heck's 4th goal of the season. Make sure to vote on our Instagram story for your favorite play of the week, and we'll be back next Monday with the results.
UNC Athletics is streamed over various channels, including ESPN and ACC Network. Avery Bales takes us behind the scenes to learn about one man who helps make it all happen.
Here at the Woody Durham Communications Center, Go Heels Productions handles all of UNC Athletics broadcasts. Ken Cleary is a huge part of it.
Carolina was one of the first schools in the country to produce events for ESPN.
Ken handles the administrative matters and allows his producers and directors to take the reins. In 2023, life changed for Cleary.
I had a lesion on my leg for 6 months and had been to all kinds of doctors, had biopsies and ultrasounds and all kinds of different diagnostic things, and no one could diagnose what the issue was. And finally, the last biopsy came back with the cancer diagnosis.
Doctors had to amputate his right leg exactly 1 month after he received his diagnosis of angiosarcoma. He was able to get a prosthetic leg 5 months later.
He came back a lot faster than I think a lot of us expected, like coming back into the office, and he was just so positive and upbeat the whole time.
The reason he stayed positive was the example of Eric Montross. While Montross was going through treatment, Cleary was helping him film.
I remember distinctly standing right out there as we were talking to him, going, wow, he is amazing. And I hope I never have cancer, but if it does happen to me, I hope I can handle it the same way that he does. And believe it or not, that evening was the evening I got the phone call about my diagnosis.
Cleary now continues his work at Go Heels, finding gratitude in everything.
Why not just try to treat every day with what you can do to make your life better, other people's lives better, and try to give back, in certain ways. I think that's probably the biggest thing that I've taken away from all of this.
I'm Avery Bales, reporting.
Truly such an inspirational story. We're happy Ken is back in action doing what he loves.
Ken's perseverance and gratitude is something we all could use a little more of. That does it for this edition of Sports Extra.
We'll be back next Monday with all of the highlights from a busy fall break of Carolina athletics.